Hi everybody and welcome to the UCD Michael Smurfit Business School Admissions webinar. So just before we begin, we'd like to introduce ourselves. So my name is Laura, I'm an admissions manager at the school, and this is my colleague Richard Murphy, who's also an MSc admissions manager at the school.
Hi there, you're very welcome.
So during our webinar today, we're going to discuss our MSc programs, and we'll also bring you through the admissions process. Both Richard and I are MSc admissions managers, and we look after the applications to the school. So we're also going to give you some tips if you are going to make an application. We'll also talk through the scholarships that are available at the school. And then we'll finish our webinar with some frequently asked questions. You will also get the chance at the end of the webinar to ask us questions as well. And you can post your questions in the Q&A part of this webinar too. And we'll answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. So just a little bit about our school. So Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School is Ireland's leading and top-ranked business school. Our campus is located in Dublin. It's just around 10 minutes away from the main UCD campus. We have all our master programs, over 20 master programs at the school. There is the opportunity to study full-time, which is 1 year-long program, and there is the opportunity in some of the master programs to study them part-time over 2 years. Our master programs are consistently ranked within the Financial Times and the Economist Top 100. We do have a wide range of MSc programs that we'll talk you through. And we do have a global alumni network of over 100,000 students within this alumni network. And careers is a very important aspect as part of the Smurfit Business School. So we do have a dedicated careers team for our MSc students. And our careers team will be able to provide advice to the students about careers, about your CV, interviews, and they also hold careers events throughout the year as well. So there is a good focus on careers in our school, and we do have a dedicated careers team that will be able to help you throughout your journey at Smurfit as well, and hopefully to get the career that you want to. So as I said, we do have a wide range of MSc programs at the school. So as you can see on the screen now, we have all our MSc programs listed here. So we have Masters in Accounting, Finance, Business Analytics. We have a wide range of management programs from our MSc in Management, Management Consultancy, Project Management, Strategic and Supply Chain. And then we also have Marketing Masters as well. So we have our MSc in Marketing, Digital Marketing, Marketing Retail Innovation, and also the Marketing Practice as well. So we do have a lot of MSc programs at our school. If you are looking at the programs, this is a really good place to start in terms of what degree you've studied. So as you can see on the screen here, so we have a list of all your degrees that you may have studied and what you may be eligible to apply for. So this is a really good starting point in terms of looking at your eligibility for the MSc programs. When you're looking at an MSc program, it's really good to look at as well what you're going to study and what knowledge you're going to get from this MSc program. So we always recommend to do your research before you apply to the school. So whether it's going onto our website and looking at the modules that you're going to study, whether it's talking to a current student that's on the program, whether it's looking at the different career opportunities from the program as well. So this is really important to do your research before you apply to the school and make sure you're choosing the right MSc program for you. Another area as well when you're choosing an MSc program is to look at the career opportunities and what kind of jobs that you'd like to study as well. So if you're not too sure what MSc program you'd like to study, maybe think about what kind of jobs you'd like after your MSc program and then see which program might reach that job potential for you. So when you're looking at MSc program, it's really important to make sure you do your research to try and get as much information as you can about the program, and also look at what are the career opportunities from that MSc program as well. If you haven't studied business before, we do have a wide range of programs that you can apply for. So obviously, if you've studied business before, a lot of our programs you will be able to apply for. But if you haven't studied business before and you're not too sure what program to look at, we've just highlighted some here on the screen that you might want to look at. So we've highlighted our marketing programs, food business. Our MSc in Management is also one that might be of interest. So if you haven't studied business in your undergraduate degree, And this MSc Management is for students that haven't studied business before. So this might be a program that might interest you. We also have our Project Strategic and Supply Chain as well. So that's just some of the courses that you don't have to have studied business for to be eligible to apply for. And so when you have done all your research and you've picked the MSc program, the next stage is the admissions process. So Richard and I are going to bring you through how you apply, and we're also going to give you tips at each stage of the application process as well. But just to let you know, it is a very straightforward application process and everything is done online. We will need to see some documents as well, such as your academic transcripts. There are an essay questions as part of the application too. And then you'll hear back from the admissions team and a results on your application. So the first part of the application stage is to make your application online. So you can apply for the MSc programs on the online application, and you can also apply for our scholarships at our school as well. And also you can log back in at any time to your application and check for updates. So I'm just going to ask Richard now, can you give any advice just on the first stage of the application process?
Sure, thanks, Laura. So just a little tip, as I say there, is to recommend using a desktop or maybe a laptop rather than using a mobile device. So this is something that we've just encountered some problems with using our SAS web account, where people try using a mobile phone to upload documents and things like that. And to be honest, from my own experience and from others, they suggest just using a desktop or a laptop computer. It's easier to get your files in and all organized as well. So definitely just one small tip, use a laptop if you can.
So the next stage then of the application process is the documents. So in terms of documents, what we would need to see is your academic transcripts for all years. So if you're in third year now and you only send us your second year transcripts, we will have to see first year as well. And it's really important to make sure that you have all your documents ready before you apply. So your academic transcripts, we do need to see the modules and the grades as well, and also an up-to-date CV. So Richard, any tips in terms of the documents?
Sure. So what we try to say to you, if possible, have all your documents ready before you make your application. So just save them in maybe a folder on your desktop and make sure that you label them clearly. And also if you're scanning any documents, that they're scanned very clearly, because we have to get sometimes back onto people to say, could you resend that? It's blurry or it's cropped. I don't know about you, Laura, but sometimes when I'm looking through a bunch of transcripts and you've got year 3 starting off, and maybe then it's year 1 and then it's year 2 and the one's upside down, it's a little bit more difficult. So just try your best to make sure everything's nice and neat and well labeled. It kind of also gives us a clue to your organization ability if you kind of have a well laid out application. Just one quick point, I know we're going to touch on in a second, I'll just mention it now. Just when we say have all your documents ready before your application, one obvious thing is that, look, you might not be ready yet in the sense that you don't have your full transcripts ready because you might be in your final year. Don't worry, that most people are who apply to Smurfit. So just have all of your transcripts that you've completed so far. So say it's a 3-year degree, have your first and second year. If it's a 4-year degree, also your first, second, third year. So submit what you can at the time of applying.
And then the next stage of the application process is the essay questions. So there are 2 essay questions for each of the MSc applications. So Richard, do you have any tips on the essay questions?
Yeah, there's no secret just what these are. You can save your application, come back out of it. You can talk to your friends who are also applying. So it's no real secret. It's not like it's a surprise test. And don't think of them as like essays in the sense of academic essays. These are very much like, job application letters and things like that. So just try to be succinct as you can. But the first question is really, why should we pick you? And that's quite an open-ended question. So, I mean, that's for you to talk about your sort of extracurricular activities, your leadership skills, things like that. And the second question is a little bit more pointed. So it's a bit more, so the question is, where do you see yourself working in 5 years' time after doing the course with us? And that one, we want to see that you've maybe done your research a little bit. So that maybe you've looked at the modules that we do. Maybe you can see how this module might get you into this particular role, or if there's an internship as part of the program, you might sort of, allude to you want to do this course because it's got an internship. And a lot of others also reach out to our current students through our website to talk to them about how they got on, but also to LinkedIn. And so you might see where maybe some people people have gone after and where they are 5 years after the program that you're looking at doing. So yeah, just really research your chosen course and make sure that you're writing the essay answers relative to that particular program, so it is unique to that particular program.
And so the next stage then is to make sure that you submit your application. So to submit your application, you do need to pay a €50 application fee. And again, at this stage, just double check that you have all your documents that we need in order to review your application before you submit it. So Richard, any tips about submitting your application?
Just one very basic one, which is that, as I said, there, one application fee allows you to apply for more than one course. So just, I suppose, Laura, you'd also agree that generally speaking, as admissions managers, we don't like to see people who maybe apply for more than 2 or 3 courses, because what that does then is shows you that you're not maybe entirely sure what it is that you want to do. Now, there are some examples, for example, where we have 4 finance programs, maybe you're torn between which one you want to do, so you apply for a few of them, and that's kind of okay. But for example, if you apply for finance, you apply for, say, a HR program, digital innovation, and maybe a marketing program, then that sort of makes a little bit of an image to us that maybe you're not entirely sure which one you want to do. So do make sure that you apply for as little courses as you can. And when you do apply, that you preference them. So we only ever look at your first preference first, a little bit like the CAO. So if you don't get your first preference, move down to your second preference, etc. So, but the one thing I'll say there is that the fee of €50 allows you to apply for as many courses as you want. But just try to remember what I said there. Thanks.
And then once you've submitted your application, you'll hear back from the admissions team. So there's 3 types of results you'll hear back. So the first one is an offer. So this would be a full offer. And what this means is that you've met all the conditions of your application. So for example, you would have completed your undergraduate degree. The second one then is conditional offer. So if you're in final year, you will be given what we call a conditional offer. And that would be on completing your degree and getting a certain result as well. So we normally do recommend a 2-1 honours for our MSc programs, and we'd let you know what the condition of your offer is in your offer letter. And the final one then is no offer, and we do provide feedback on our applications as well. So Richard, do you have any just tips on the results?
I think you've explained it pretty well, Laura, but just maybe I'll just ask that people can be patient, because I mentioned there it can take up to 3 weeks and sometimes longer, depending on maybe what region you're applying from or what time of year it is. So we do try to get an answer back to you as soon as we can, but sometimes people email us in the office asking for a status update, and that kind of just slows things down even more. So just be patient. You will get emails. You get an automatic email notification when your status moves or your application moves through the process. There's a few different sort of stages it gets to before you get to the results. So you'll see all those anyway. And then you'll also find you get an email from us listed with one of these results listing off the reasons or your next steps.
And then the final stage then, so if you're given an offer or a conditional offer, you are given 2 weeks to accept your place. How you accept your place is by paying the deposit. So on the majority of the MSc programs, it is a €500 deposit. On certain MSc programs, there is a deposit of €1,000. So Richard, do you have any just tips on accepting your place?
Yeah, just what I said there, accept and pay your deposit as early as you can. We have had some cases in the past where people have maybe waited to the last minute and tried to submit their deposit, but it's been too late and places have been lost. Now, we'll try to be flexible where we can, but if it's a very in-demand course and there's maybe hundreds of other people waiting for a place, we do have to, in the interest of fairness, go to the next person. So don't do that. Hopefully, when you do apply, you've done your research and you are, Smurfit is hopefully your number one choice, and that you're really happy with everything, so that when you do get the offer, as most applicants do, they accept within usually the first day. So just try to accept as early as you can, at least then it's in the bag for you.
The next part of our presentation is our scholarships available at the school. So we have a wide range of scholarships at the school. They're all listed on our website. So it's www.smurfitschools.ie, and you can see there is a tab on the website that says scholarships, and you'll find all the information on the scholarships there. We do list the opening, the closing dates, the eligibility for the scholarships as well. So all the information you need in regards to the scholarships is on our website. We have picked out a few scholarships that you may be interested in applying for. The first scholarship is our Aspire Scholarship. So this is both a financial and a merit-based scholarship. What I mean by merit-based is it does take into consideration your academic results as well. So the closing date for this scholarship is the 7th of May, and you do have to make an online application for this scholarship. So once you apply for an MSc program, it will give you then the opportunity to apply for the scholarships as well. So that's our Aspire Scholarship, and that closes the 7th of May. So you would need to make an application before the 7th of May for both an MSc program and the Aspire Scholarship to be considered for that particular scholarship. We also have merit-based scholarships. So again, what merit-based means is that we would look at your final results, and we also take into consideration your MSc application as well. We do have merit-based scholarships for UCD graduates, and we also have merit-based scholarships for non-UCD graduates. So the non-UCD graduates is for students that haven't studied in UCD but have studied in a university in Ireland. So those merit-based scholarships are open until the 1st of August. You do have to submit an MSc application and a separate scholarship application too, but the closing date isn't until the 1st of August for those scholarships. So we always recommend when you make your MSc application to go back into your application and make your scholarship ones at the same time as well, to make sure that you're considered for the scholarships you wish to apply for. Again, a lot of the scholarships are based on your academic results, so we would need to see your final results as well to be considered too for the scholarship as well. And then the sports scholarships, this will open in June and it's open till July. And this is for students that are professional in a sport and also have made an application to one of our MSc programs as well. So the three that we've listed here, you have to apply for, so you have to make a scholarship application for. The other scholarships that are listed on our website, so we do have scholarships for some of our particular MSc programs, such as aviation finance and marketing and retail innovation. You don't actually need to make a scholarship for that. Once you make your MSc application, you're automatically considered for those ones. So these three here are the only ones you actually need to apply for. So that's why we've talked about them today. But there are other scholarships at the school that you're automatically considered for when you make an MSc application. Richard, do you have any just tips on the scholarships?
I think, to be honest with you, Laurie, I think you've pretty much said everything there. I think just one thing I would say is with all scholarships, please don't rely on getting a scholarship in order to fund you attending Smurfit. It's kind of the one thing we all say in the admissions office, because there are a lot of scholarships. There's a fairly decent fund there for scholarships, but the amount of people there are makes it very competitive. So what I would always say to you is, look, try to make sure you can fund doing your program here in Smurfit without the need of a scholarship. And if you do get a scholarship, then it's a bonus, obviously, but also it's quite prestigious. So just, I think that's the best way to approach scholarships.
And just the final part of our webinar is just talking about some questions that we get asked in admissions. And so I'm just going to answer the first three questions here. So can I apply for more than one course? But the answer to that question is yes, you can. So as I said at the start of the presentation, we do have a lot of MSc programs, and you might be considering 2 programs. For example, in our marketing programs, we have 4 marketing programs. So you might be looking at marketing and retail innovation, and you might want to apply for both of them. What you can do is you can preference your program. So when you make your application, you do have to make 2 separate applications, but it does come under the same application fee. You can also preference which one is your first preference and second preference as well. So to answer the first question, can I apply for more than one course? The answer to that question is yes, you can. The second question then we do get asked is, when should I apply? So for the September 2021 intake, we opened our applications the 1st of October 2020. So we have been open for applications the past few months. So if you are thinking of applying, we would say sooner rather than later, because we do have limited spaces on our programs. So if you are thinking of applying, we would suggest to try and apply as soon as you can. Are there scholarships? Yes, so there are scholarships at the school. There are scholarships that you have to apply for, so such as the Aspire, our merit-based scholarships, and also the sports scholarships. The other scholarships available at the school, you don't need to make an application for. You're automatically considered when you apply. So just to make sure that you know, if you do have to apply for a scholarship, to make sure you apply before the closing date. But we do have a wide range of scholarships at the school. And as we said before, they are very competitive as well. So just to bear that in mind if you are applying for a scholarship too. And I'll just ask Richard the last two questions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Laura. So the second last one is, how do I accept my place? And so that is, you need to log back into where you made your application in the first place, so which is called our SIS web account. Most universities have a very similar thing, so it should be very intuitive. There's obviously instructions that you get on your offer letter that's sent out to you via email. But basically you log in there and you'll accept it by paying a €500 deposit. For most courses, there are one or two where you pay €1,000. And I think, as we already mentioned, these are non-refundable deposits. So just be careful of that, because ultimately when you do accept and pay the deposit, that does sort of in some ways commit you to doing the course, unless of course you want to forfeit the 500. Now, if there is a case of that, that money stays within UCD. So you can always come back the following year if there's a reason as to why you can't do it. The only exception to that is if you make a conditional offer based on, say, you getting a certain score in the final of your final result, like for example, like a 2-1, and ultimately you get a 2-2, you don't actually have enough to get in, then we would refund your deposit. But that's the only example where we would do that. So that's basically how you accept your place. Also, equally, if you don't want to accept your place, you can also reject it, if you like, on the same thing. But most people tend to accept, so hopefully that will be the case. Final question, can I speak to a current student? Yes, you can. There's 84 student ambassadors from about 16 different nationalities, and at least one or two representing each course that we have. So you can do that through our website. There's a link that we can put into the chat box here in a few minutes, but it's found through the admissions section on our website, and it's called Ask a Student or Speak to a Student. So it's a very useful tool. I highly recommend it. You can do it before you make your application, but you can do it at any stage, and the students tend to get back to you usually within 24 hours, and then you can sort of engage in an online chat with them. So I highly recommend it.
And just the final slide of our presentation is just in terms of if you need to contact us. So our email address is smurfit.admissions@ucd.ie. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have. You can email us directly at smurfit.admissions@ucd.ie. And we also just have listed the website there. So on our website, you'll find information about all our MSc programs, the entry requirements, the modules that you'll study, and the duration as well of the program. So our full-time programs are 1 year long. Our part-time programs are 2 years long as well. And there'll be information as well regarding the scholarships at the school too. And you do make your application online through our website. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to see if we have any questions, and Richard and I will answer any questions that you have now.
I think it was such a useful presentation that no one's got questions for us at the moment, Laura. But I suppose one of the common questions people kind of get is, you know, like, when should I apply? I think we've already mentioned that. So we don't have a sort of a deadline operated admissions process. What we do is we do a rolling basis. So it's a first come, first served. And we think it's usually the fairest way to do things. And we open usually our applications in the 1st of October for the following intake. So people have been applying all the way throughout the year already. And what that basically means is that when we get to sort of summertime or sort of now, there's not a huge amount of places left. So I would highly encourage you, if you are thinking about applying to Smurfit, do definitely get your application in as soon as you can. And again, like, if you're thinking about waiting because you might want to get a reference, or you might want to get your final results or something like that, as we mentioned already, you don't need those. So just get your application in. And again, I think, Laura, it's fair to say, isn't it, a lot of people sort of think an application is like submitting a test result or something, isn't it? Like, you know, it's once you press the submit button, that's it, it's gone. But what we like to try to think of ourselves is, you know, we try to do, if we're missing something or something else we need to see or something else we need to clarify, we will get back to you. So, you know, don't feel like you need to necessarily, particularly at this time of year, put forward or wait until you get absolutely everything in place. get your application in, and we can clarify things if we need to. But reach out to us is really the best thing to do. Just engage in conversation with us beforehand. We can give you some tips and advice individually. We can set up a one-on-one. I think we're fairly approachable like that. And also don't forget, we do an admissions drop-in session every Friday at 2 to 3 p.m. So that runs every Friday. The link for that is up on our website in the events section. Highly recommended again, so it'd be usually myself or Laura or one of the other admissions managers hosting the session, and we're actually joined from now on by a member from our program office team who would be very useful to talk to if you're already an offer holder, or if you want more information maybe on sort of the next steps, what you would do after us in admissions. So it's so there's lots of ways you can communicate with us. I think that's one thing I just want to highlight just there, is that we're quite approachable, and so do reach out to us if you need any more information.
And so just to conclude our presentation and webinar today, so we want to thank you very much for joining us. And again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact the Smurfit Admissions School. Thank you.
Thanks, Hugh.